let's talk about prepping. Welcome to the third video in the video series that I've been creating. I hope you've enjoyed the two videos that I've done so far. In this video though, we're going to talk about how you can prepare before investing. Now before you start investing, there is one golden rule, and everyone should do this. Make sure, and listen closely because this is important, make sure to set aside 3 to 6 months of your income that you're going to need to pay bills as an emergency fund, just in case something happens. Now I know what a lot of people are already going to say. That's too hard. I don't know how to save that much money, or I don't make that much money to put that much aside. And yeah, it is hard, but the reason that you want to do it is because if something happens and you have an emergency, you don't want to have to go into stocks and liquidate them for equity just to pay off your issue. The most important thing that you can remember is that compound interest is where you're going to make all your money in the stock market. This is why everybody always says the same thing. Invest early, invest often, and invest enough. So I'm going to give you guys a cool scenario to think about. We have two people, subject A and subject B. Both of them have $100,000 each to invest. Subject A takes their $100,000 and they put it in the stock market with about a 10% annual return rate. Subject B says, I ain't doing that. I don't believe in the stock market, or I'm going to wait until the market drops. They take their $100,000 and they put it in the bank with a probably less than 1% return rate. Now, normally you'd say, okay, well, they're just doing things differently. But in reality, the problem is that inflation exists. And inflation in the United States is about 2%. So while subject A is outpacing that by about 8%, subject B is actually not. And inflation is actually outpacing the value of subject B's money by 1%, which means that every year that subject B keeps that money in their bank account, it loses value. And this is why I go back to setting up an emergency fund. The fund should just be there in case some kind of emergency happens and you need immediate cash. Okay. Other than that, your other money should be going into investments. Now, a good way that you can accomplish this is setting aside a budget every month and then budgeting for what you can invest. Now, if you do this, you won't invest too little or too much. Now, aside from just having an emergency fund, the other thing to consider is debt. Now, Americans, we have a lot of debt. I am included in that. And this can be in the form of a house payment or student loans or car payments. I mean, you name it, any kind of bill that we owe on, that's debt. Now, the important thing that a lot of people don't understand is that when you pay off your debt, you're guaranteeing yourself a return rate, because once you don't owe, that money can be used elsewhere. So I think we're left with the question is, should I pay off my debt before I invest? And it's kind of a loaded question. I would say no, but at the same time, I would say yes. And the reason I say that is because you can do both. I actually do both. I pay extra towards my principal payments on loans that I have, but at the same time, I also put money in the stock market because you have to have a healthy balance. And if you're moving towards, having a good portfolio, you have to start early. But at the same time, if you pay off that debt, you'll have more money to put into that portfolio. So I would say a good healthy balance is what you would want to do. If you have the opportunity to put money towards a principal payment for a car loan, credit cards, house, whatever it may be, just remember that you're investing your money in that aspect as well, because you're paying down debt, and that's just going to leave you with more money to invest later. And this is why I cannot stress enough to make a monthly budget, because this is going to allow you to plan for these things. The budget's going to factor in debt. It's going to factor in how much money you're going to have for investments. And really, it's just going to help you kind of keep track of what you're doing. Another thing that will help you get ahead and get that emergency fund and pay down debt, and a lot of people don't want to do this, but really you should if you want to get ahead, and that's to live frugally. And by living frugally, you're going to get ahead. I mean, you may have to eat Top Ramen every once in a while, or you may have to skip Starbucks, and you may have to skip going out to the club, because that's what success takes. That's what it takes to be successful. You have to be willing to make sacrifices to pay it forward into your future, and then you'll have the good life later where you may just not have it at all. Now, if you can tell me that you've set aside that emergency fund and you've paid down your debt or have a plan to pay down your debt, and that you're ready to live frugally, then let's go ahead and look into buying that first stock, guys. With that being said, I am going to go ahead and wrap up the video here. Thank you for viewing. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that little notification bell down there so you can see all the latest videos when they come out. And there is a link down in the description so you can sign up for Robinhood and get yourself a free stock to start off. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for tuning in.